Told you guys, it was too late to start playing the good music. It's fine, because no one wants to listen to that music, or any music. We just want to watch Sacred go up against paiN Gaming. The third game, the best of three, is going to come to an end right here, and we'll see who's going to take it, because both these two teams pulling out some pretty big guns in their respective wins. And, well, let's see what we have here in this draft. I'm Mike Lovis, going to be joined by MRP for this final game, and it looks like, dude, we finally have a little bit of respect here. Puck gonna get nailed, Beastmaster as well taken out, so you know, a couple more options here in this after this first ban phase.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Aside from maybe the first 13 or 14 minutes of game one, one team has been starkly in the driver's seat for the entire series. So it'll be interesting to see if they can kind of duel in this third matchup a little more closely. But it definitely felt like the team with the more clear-cut strategy or kind of more solid draft or well-rounded draft in both games did end up being the victor. So we'll see who kind of comes out with the apparent advantage in this third drafting phase. Finally, we'll see paiN ban out Leo Styles' Puck here. So that's the big deviation in the early bans.
Winter Wyvern is kind of turning into the premier full 5 position support in the, or one of the premier supports in this game. Does have a lot of options with what you actually can do with her. Obviously, she's better or worse depending on how right-click heavy the enemies are as far as the Winter's Curse is concerned and the Embrace is concerned. But early game power of the Winter Wyvern for sure is something to fear. Is going to be a pretty safe pick for the paiN Gaming side. It does seem like lanes seem to be like what dictates pretty much the entirety of the game. Like no recovering from bad lanes after that early game, at least for the Sacred Spectre. So Winter Wyvern is okay in the lanes, but is also very kind of inconsistent in the lane. Doesn't offer that consistent threat. When her burn is down, she's pretty useless.
Yeah. The talent changes were nice for the Wyvern. Definitely getting that 90 GPM at level 10 can really kind of propel her where otherwise it's difficult for her to farm because she often has to use her Splinter Blast in order to wave clear and defend pushes. She can't always be given that kind of farm priority. So that talent early on. Also, some really nice ones going forward. Plus 600 night vision at level 15 on top of the flying vision that you already get. And that's perhaps some factor as to why we've seen a little bit more influential Winter's Curses more recently in the new patch. Silencer, though, pretty good hero to have up against the Wyvern. And an interesting pick here from Sacred, a bit of a change of pace from them as they'll grab the Bounty Hunter.
There was still a couple of additional 4-position heroes still in the pool, at least like, you know, more standard 4-position heroes. Bounty Hunter is not really a hero that gets a lot of respect as far as heroes coming out of that 4 position are concerned. I mean, I would expect for Sacred they would just go for a Clockwork and then just be happy with that. Perhaps not the greatest hero versus that Winter Wyvern, but still, the Bounty Hunter is going to mean that Sacred's game plan pretty darn clear. Again, no huge changes in the kind of base stats of the Bounty Hunter, but I think there was a slight rework of how track worked, if I remember correctly. I don't exactly remember the exact changes there. I'll look them up on the side, but for whatever the case may be, Sacred now looking for a very snowball-y based draft. You don't pick a Bounty Hunter and then try to not snowball. It's really not the plan. And going up against an Anti-Mage seems like it's a pretty good plan if they can get a little bit more in the way of disables. That is, currently they are ill-prepared to deal with an AM.
Yeah, so you can alt-click the tracked hero now to see how much gold he has rather than having to hover over the debuff. So just kind of a quality of life change for the BH. You also get that plus 300 track gold at level 25. But if you don't have a very, I don't want to say sizable, but if you don't have at least some sort of advantage by the time Bounty Hunter is level 25, I don't know how useful of a hero he can be at that point. So we'll see how they end up faring, especially versus an anti-mage. They are going to be, you know, pressured in towards that 30-35 minute mark where the AM is extremely strong. So we'll see how they end up faring as far as the lanes go. Wyvern anti-mage, though, pretty darn good duo in and of their own right. Versus any solo offlaner can completely zone them out with the feedback and the Arctic burn.
It's crazy to see that anti-mage in that second box.
Yes.
It's been a really long time since he's been like, you know, kind of acceptable to be picked up this early. But again, he is one of the better carries in the game. I'm not entirely convinced that he is a carry that's powerful enough to just first phase pick and then just be like, okay, well, we got the anti-mage, we're happy with it, because it does reveal a lot. Like, looking at Sacred's draft, like, you kind of understand how they want to play the game, but you don't really know what answers you'll need, because answers to the Silencer, answers to the Bounty Hunter, they're pretty numerous. But as far as how to deal with an anti-mage, you want to play as aggressively as possible. You want to overload yourself on disables. It is going to show off the lanes for paiN Gaming, because with very few exceptions, anti-mage is going to take to the safe lane, maybe sometimes to the mid lane if you have a really bad mid laner there, but this is showing a lot for paiN Gaming. And for Sacred, like, they're all vets. They gotta see this, they're gonna see this coming from a mile away. I mean, it's a first pick anti-mage.
And they have already the tools in place to start building a draft that has the inclination to be able to constantly pick off an anti-mage. And there is some recognition from paiN. They've banned all the Spear Breaker and the Puck in the first phase. They're banning the Legion Commander now in the second phase. But, you know, with a Bounty Hunter and a covering Global Silence, this anti-mage is going to be a very difficult game before he's able to get up his Mantis out. Once he gets his Mantis, he's going to feel a lot more safe to kind of split push with impunity. But before then, it definitely feels like he can be picked off. And I'm looking at heroes like Storm Spirit for Sacred. I mean, anti-mage is considered one of the hardest counters in the game to Storm Spirit, but there is somewhat of a duality there. You know, if you can get an Orchid up on the Storm, or for that matter, have a Global Silence behind you on the Storm, and constantly be able to chase down and kill off the anti-mage before he picks up a Manta style, you can definitely kind of steamroll from there and hinder him from getting to the point where he's actually a threat. So I'm definitely looking for heroes to supplement this Bounty Hunter Silencer.
Yeah, you just want to be able to initiate really hard, and that's why we see these two being banned out, Legion Commander as well as that Bat Rider, just making sure that there is no way for the Global Silence to cover initiation. On their own end, they've banned out the Clockwork. So for Sacred, initiation, it seems like it's going to have to come from that mid lane, because that's just normally where it comes from, if not from these off lane heroes. Who is it actually going to be? Initiation from the Earthshaker isn't terrible, though certainly is a little bit worse nowadays as far as finding off and killing off an anti-mage. It's a little bit awkward there, but this is still going to be a good amount of team fight from the Sacred side. As a hero doesn't really have to worry about Winter Wyvern in the team fight so much, as far as killing off his own allies or getting killed by his allies, usually pretty durable. Sacreds don't really get paid off the most right now by this Bounty Hunter's track. Like, Earthshaker with extra gold is kind of nice, but it's not going to break the game. So still, this Bounty Hunter early pick, not entirely a huge fan of it just yet. They still need to build around it a little bit more.
Yeah, as you kind of alluded to, 7.07 taking away essentially the ability for the Earthshaker to reliably echo and kill solo cores. You know, that the steeper kind of slope with his damage versus units present on his Echo Slam is going to hurt his ability, especially against a naturally magic damage resistant hero like the AM. So still feels like they'll need, you know, one more contributor, whether it be a Storm or an Ember Spirit, or perhaps even a Dragon Knight, something along those lines for Sacred side. Sand King going to be the pickup here from paiN Gaming. Find it, you know, slightly greedy for them, but we'll see how much farm he's able to get with an anti-mage on his squad. As we mentioned earlier, Wyvern AM, pretty damn good as in their own right, just in the lane. So perhaps Sand King able to get some pulls off and do some stacks, kind of get himself an item to be able to counter initiate for his AM alongside the Wyvern into that mid game.
Life Stealer now for Sacred. As far as anti-mage tech is concerned, Life Stealer isn't exactly on the top of that list. Like, it is for sure a way to kind of get more initiation from a safe lane hero, if that makes any sense. Like, he doesn't really have the explosiveness of something like a Blink Sven, but joining in for an Earthshaker or a Bounty Hunter, it's certainly not bad. Though it doesn't seem like that's really going to have the greatest matchups here. Like, killing off a Sand King as Life Stealer is pretty difficult. Anti-Mage is really difficult. And Winter Wyvern is going to give that Embrace, which of course stops Life Stealer dead in his tracks.
Yes.
I don't really like this pick from Sacred.
I agree, but in the same at the same time, it's hard to show your mid at this point. Sven has the same issue with Cold Embrace, so you know, Sven, PA, Lifestealer, you're looking at all of these heroes that can kind of join up with the Bounty and the Earthshaker and look for picks. and none of them great against Cold Embrace, to be completely frank. So it was a hard position for them to be in. Maybe they look at something like a Clinks or some other Orchid builder there. But like you mentioned, Cold Embrace going to be very good regardless. And I suppose having last pick, they did want to pick their mid laner last and just kind of going for the stable sort of lane, self-sufficient laner in the Lifestealer. Razor pick coming out pretty much in direct response to this Lifestealer.
Razor also gets pretty nuts when he's paired with a Winter Wyvern. You could actually do something when the enemies are just sitting there cursed, and that's just sitting there draining their damage. I guess we'll be maybe helping their allies because you're taking damage away from them, but hey, you're going to have the damage afterwards, so you're going to get the last laugh there for sure. As far as the hero is concerned, I've never really liked Razor, but when you're pairing him with an anti-mage, when you have this kind of early mid-game hero in the Razor and then the mid-late game stage of the anti-mage, the power curve is usually pretty smooth. It is baffling to me that we still have not seen any Viper, like, at all.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that hero is pretty broken right now, and he's just not seen. And it seems like it may be too late for both sides. Although for Sacred, they can still look for a mid lane, put the Silencer in that support role with that Bounty Hunter in the in that roam position. That seems like it is more than likely what's going to happen here.
Mm-hmm.
paiN, though, they're still looking for their off lane. Doesn't really seem like they're lacking all that much. Like maybe an additional stun.
10 seconds.
Yeah, the problem with Viper for Sacred, just to touch back on that point, is they're just so disable. Like they'll only be able to kill the anti-mage with either a global or an echo. So interesting pick here for paiN Gaming, giving them a little bit of a push. Maybe what's more important about this is it forces there to be support near the Lifestealer. 1v1, Nature's Prophet, Lifestealer. Prophet's going to bully him, especially with no more Poor Man's Shield in the game. So this is a really, really cool pick from paiN in the 5th slot. And it's going to change how Sacred have to think about their lanes. Being that the Bounty Hunter wants to be active, and find them numbers advantages where they're available, this Nature's Prophet's able to kind of punish them leaving the Lifestealer alone.
Is going to be a lot of split push, which Sacred can answer, especially now that they've picked up this last pick in the Mirana. Is a pretty decent hero at hunting down Nature's Prophets. Really good hero to have versus Razor as well. You're fairly well immune to that static link damage drain if you have a couple of leap charges up here. And again, this entire Sacred draft is kind of built around the hope/idea of getting a little bit ahead and then just kind of getting out of control with this Bounty Hunter. And we may see that, but it does feel like Sacred, they have just one too many bad matchups, it feels like. They aren't really a draft that can apply enough pressure to this anti-mage unless they get just the nuts lanes. And up against a Razor, up against Nature's Prophet, I don't really see that lane actually coming to be. So I'm favoring paiN Gaming pretty heavily right now. I don't really have much faith in how this Lifestealer is going to perform.
Yeah, I mean, you can leave HFN completely alone. It's interesting to see HFN pick up the Razor as well because he's using the safe lane, but I still think it'll be Masha's anti-mage in the safe lane with no...
I have seen anti-mage mid by Masha before, I think.
Okay, so, without Poor Man's Shield, I don't know how much I would like that without Poor Man's Shield in the game, but regardless, I mean, it is something they can run. What I was going to say is that they can pretty much leave the Prophet and the Razor alone, so pressuring the anti-mage is not going to be, an easy task to fulfill for Benjaz and co. So I definitely agree with you. I got to favor paiN as well, pretty heavily in this third game. It just doesn't feel like they were able to supplement kind of the lack of disable that they opened the draft with the Silencer Bounty Hunter. I think Earthshaker, not quite the beast that he used to be as far as picking off solo cores. And it feels like inevitably we'll get to a point where Masha is the anti-mage that we all fear.
Well, hey, the new Earthshaker Echo Slam, pretty good at nailing down Nature's Prophet if he's
that's true
standing in his giant creep wave army, which we all know how often that happens. Nature's Prophet always right in the middle of his treants, got to be surrounded by nature and all that jazz. Yeah, it's not really all that great. I mean, they definitely do have pretty good heroes at hunting down Nature's Prophets.
King Tekka, 1-to-1 bottom NP, $100 PayPal.
Tekka's been, for all you guys who don't have vision of the lobbies, he's been He's been messing around pretty hard in the lobby chat. He's been enjoying himself. Clearly, everyone's getting in on it now.
Yeah, South American Dota for you.
It's BM with the best intentions. There's no malicious intent here. I'm saying that with like a 80% rate of being right. They may hate each other. I don't actually know, but I'm pretty sure they don't. Everyone's loading out into their lanes, and it looks like for paiN, well, there's a lot of regen on this anti-mage, though Razor's packing a pretty mid-looking build, and they have swapped actually, so HFN will be the anti-mage and Masha will be the Razor. Looks like lanes should be normal for them. Benjaz, the Lifestealer, is going to go towards the top lane, but it's definitely not too late to see these swaps of lanes since they get the earlier TP scrolls on everyone.
Benja's in a good position up on the high ground to pop the smoke. Maybe forced to skill his rage, but that's not going to be necessarily a huge detriment to his lane. Although, Arctic Burn coming out, he does skill up the rage and is forced to back off. Arcane Curse going to be thrown out just to keep paiN Gaming at bay as well. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Tavo being stalked briefly with the Earthshaker bounty. They're going to have to get a Fisher block in order to kill him.
Well, this is awkward. Tavo knows exactly what he's up against. I think he could just kind of use the Treants as just a slow, kind of just wall off Tekka and just try to keep him out. But it's still 20 seconds left until we have any runes. So I don't know which one I should watch. I'm pretty sure Tavo's just going to have to back off right now. His Treants can do quite a bit of chip damage. You don't really want to underestimate these trees. But still, he's got to be really, really careful because Matthew is going to look for another setup. This time, Leo Style is actually going to show up, but the Treants are still in the way, so they don't have to worry about an arrow. And it looks like they should have this rune unlocked. Tavo going to go right back in. Fissure is there, and the bounty rune will be taken by Tekka. Tavo will take a lot of damage for it. Ultimately, everyone's posturing, everyone's fighting, but it's a 2-2 rune split, so that was great fun had by all.
It does mean there's not going to be any wave cutting shenanigans for Tavo's Nature's Prophet, and we all know how impactful of a player Tavo himself can be. So denying that early surge of experience for him could be proving to be well worth it for Sacred later on. And as you mentioned, just the general 2-2 bounty split as we get this third game kicked off.
Looks like the lanes have in fact swapped. Just want to put some pressure or put as much power as you can on the top lane to fight over the runes, and then kind of use your free TP to, at no cost to yourself, just get back to the lanes that you actually want. I'm not sure if Tekka actually wants this top lane, because this is not a fun lane for an Earthshaker. Just having no mana in general is miserable, and up against an anti-mage who maybe not quite, but will soon be able to just blink freely onto you as Shaker and just drain your mana. And you can't really do anything about it in response. It's definitely not fun, so I don't envy the position that the Shaker is going to be in just a little bit. And we see on the bottom lane, Tavo doesn't really have to worry about that all that much. I mean, he is able to, just with these Treants, manipulate the creep wave, get some extra chip damage on Benjaz, and is not really, at least right now, in any trouble. And with the supports on Sacred, will he ever really be in trouble? Like, Silencer isn't really that dangerous. Bounty Hunter will eventually get dangerous. If Tavo runs through and just ignores everyone, then yeah, he can go down. Benjaz is going to turn around and rage. Okay, you know, all that I was saying was on the assumption that Tavo wouldn't run into melee range against the Lifestealer.
You know what? To be with you there, my comrade, I was just about to make the point is, where does Matthew influence this game as a bounty hunter early on? And you got Razor in the mid lane, you got the anti-mage top, and you should have enough buffer zone, especially with King RD down bottom, for the Prophet to be all right. Of course, he's the most vulnerable of the three cores, but still, you know, anytime we look at a game and we try, you know, we struggle to find a bounty hunter's impact, that's not going to bode well for that pick. Masoku, meanwhile, he's going to get brought down in the river. King RD uses the dust to slow Matthew, and with that Janata, he does not have the shuriken toss. And Matthew will be forced to try and save his support and won't be successful in doing so. So they'll find the revenge kill in the bottom lane, the duo of King RD and Tavo.
They'll switch things up a little bit. Throw the Lifestealer up towards the top lane. Tekka will be doing it just fine versus this Nature's Prophet if he can start last hitting, and they will chase Masha out, but hey, a haste rune, pretty strong rune, will get the Razor back out to safety. This is going to be much better for the Earthshaker compared to what the other situation was. is this going to be that much better for Benjez? Lifesteal with no mana is still a pretty tanky hero, still has a free passive in that Feast. And now he is actually out of mana, but he now doesn't have that cover of Rage. So if Duster wants to put some chill into this Lifestealer, it all should land. And King RD is coming around as well. Benjez is in a lot of trouble. Splinter Blast is going to land, and here comes the burn. Burrow Strike available, will be used, and will get them eventually a kill on Benjez.
Yeah, and it's HFN finding the kill, no less, with already a sizable CS lead, sitting at 22 here and 5, just 3.5 minutes in. Masoku joining up mid lane with his Mirana, just going to try and back Masha away. But again, paiN just finding the more valuable rotations. Their anti-mage having a free farm beginning to this game. And the Prophet proving perhaps a little bit too much for Benjez to handle on the Lifestealer as far as that matchup goes bottom lane.
Shades of game 2 here, where for Sacred they had a couple of decent scenarios in their lanes, but ultimately the lanes just didn't work out in their favor. HFN getting chased out by Benjez this time, but he's got Blink, so unless there's rotations, which
Tekka bottom.
Matthew and Masoku find King RD in the river.
Tekka, he gets right clicked by the treants. He will get the salve off Tavo, TPing into the trees. And he'll have to make his way out away from the tower.
Yeah, he'll teleport out. The probably biggest concern here is the fact that in this game, unlike the other ones, Leo Style is not having a good time. The Mirana is getting Outlast hit by the Razor, and with very little support coming in, is not going to be that heavy. If Benjez is going to fall behind in farm, it looks like that is a very real possibility. There's no one who can step up. Last game it was Tekka as the Mirana. This time Shaker can maybe do it, but it doesn't seem like Sacred have that kind of get out of jail free hero that they had in the last game. So they're just gonna have to fight as a whole from behind instead of having just 1 or 2 heroes being behind. Makes an absolute world of difference, and they're still not even having a great time up in top either. They do Dust blindly, see the Bounty Hunter with it, but HFN, he's taking a little bit of chip damage here. They gotta watch out. I mean, as much damage as the Anti-Mage does, he is still fairly fragile. With the Blightstone on the other end, he's taking a lot of damage there.
Oh, he disjointed the Shuriken toss, I believe, and was able to survive. But does have the regen. It's going to get pulled to Tango. Can get cold embraced up. Well, actually, no points in it for Duster just yet. But he'll be able to get back in towards the lane. Shrines up. Matthew stalking him. Won't be able to kill him off. And again, we're just, this is where the Razor pick is just paying dividends here for paiN Gaming. Masha just able to stand half HP, almost no mana in this mid lane, and not feel threatened by this Bounty Hunter at all. Speaking of the Bounty Hunter, dusted up top lane and will be brought down here momentarily. Now the Wrath of Nature going to fly through as well. Tavo comes in. He's going to get the Sprout off. They're going to get greedy and try to go for both kills. They'll get Benjaz. Sprout up Masoku. Double kill for the Anti-Mage. He's got the most CS in the game and a couple of kills under his belt. 3-0 for the AM. And now with the Nature's Prophet rotating up, why not, with the Siege creep, put some damage into this tower? It's already halfway down.
Duster's out on a scouting mission. That is not where he wants to be, and will be taken down pretty much for free off to the side. A loss of a Winter Wyvern is going to be quite nice for Sacred. Masoku does get the in-swing from that, so could certainly be a worse situation there, but man, it is very rare that you see the Nature's Prophet make such a huge impact with Wrath of Nature. It's a finicky spell in general. You can't control the bounces. You can just kind of time it properly. Usually we see TPs being the most relevant part of Nature's Prophet participation, but Wrath of Nature is a real nuke if you can actually land it, and it doesn't get much better than that. So paiN Gaming, they have this game, or this top lane rather, on lock. Benjez, CS-wise, is not doing all too bad right now. Yeah. But still is not really in a situation where you could ever feel comfortable in this lane because of exactly this. You spend a blink, spend a burn, and suddenly he's at 1/3 of his HP.
Yeah, and he's
Matthew is coming in. They have an angle on Duster. Benjez, he's fast with the phase boots. Open wounds though is only level 1. Pathetic range, but man is he quick. Duster is going to have the embrace for himself. We'll wait a little bit longer for the open wounds to kind of fade away, but movement speed afterwards is not going to be incredibly impressive. Wrath of Nature this time comes in to very little effect, and Benjez will find another kill on this Winter Wyvern. Any kill that they can get at this point involving the Lifestealer is going to be really nice for them.
Yeah, definitely so. He finally picks up, or shortly will pick up his level 6 here for the Benjaz. Still, however, I mean, Masha 38 CS in the mid lane to the 24 of his counterpart in the Mirana. They force out the TP bottom who on King Tekka's Earthshaker, who had to just walk back to lane. And in the meantime, 50% of the HP of the tier 1 down bottom. So really smart first rotation by Tavo. And they open the fight with the Dust and the Arctic Burn right on the siege wave encroaching the tower. So they keep that catapult up, get a lot of damage done on top, and then just moments later get a lot of damage done on bottom. So all the right moves or all the right seeds being planted for paiN Gaming. And now rotation through to the bottom lane. This is a level 7 Earthshaker, so not an inconsequential kill by any means. And coming through with Masha, they will get that kill on the Earthshaker and more than likely take this tower shortly hereafter.
105 damage stolen on Masha, aiding in this push. Matthew is able to sneak around that and avoid that conflict almost entirely. I don't think they have any visionary. No, they don't. So they will be able to take down the tower. Push on the other end is irrelevant. Top lane is going to be fortified, and Benjaz and Soku can't kill off that tower easily, even if they were able to freely hit it without that fortification. So it's a nice little rotation there from paiN. Killing off Shaker, as you said, is quite nice. Got to make sure that this hero, in this particular game, when his other friendlies are not having that great farm, is not going to have a fast blink dagger, because if he is able to get a fast blink dagger, then you can just turn around and fight just by having that and nothing else. But delay it as much as they can, and suddenly no one on Sacred is really having a good game at all. They are kind of awkwardly looking to approach this top lane. Only a Sand King and a Winter Wyvern, though. They're going to Splinter Blast into Masoku. Tavo's going to arrive, and Masoku, trapped in the trees, will be surrounded and torn apart. Benjaz does have Rage TP, but he's not in a great spot right now. Also has an Infest. Is going to farm. Efficiency. There we go.
Yeah, just take the range creep first. As HFN bottom lane looking to build into that battle fury.
I'm pretty sure they could maybe still kill him. They don't really have that much damage. I think they can actually just kill Tavo or Duster if they bring in a couple heroes. Benja's going to pop out, go straight for Duster. Again, the Embrace is available. We'll keep him in place, though King RD is slowly coming in to help out. The Rage is going to keep Benjaz protected. We'll chop through the Sprout. Wrath of Nature might be bouncing through soon enough. No, it stops right before it hits Masoku. Tower, though, Tavo's going to rush it down and will straight TP afterwards. He should be fine. Benjaz, not really sure who he should be hitting, is not doing any damage in the end. And, well, Tavo's back with the regular TP on his abilities. We'll come back in looking for Benjaz. After having taken down Masoku, at the end of the day, the tower will fall, and it will be the Silencer to die as well. paiN are just running circles around Sacred right now.
Yeah, that was really nicely played overall, specifically by Tavo in that top lane. There's a tome in Duster's stash. If only he had that Winter's Curse, they probably could have got another kill off the back of that. But it's 2 tier 1 towers, bottom and top, in about 2 minutes. For paiN Gaming side, and still continuing to farm very well on their cores. Now TP in from Tavo bottom lane, and almost out of mana entirely is the Earthshaker. They do have the Dust on the Sand King, so they will find this ES with the Sprout Flying Vision for the moment. Should get them an easy kill here, and nicely executed by that trio of heroes. King RD
mid lane
doing well to have
time. Masha going to start draining out from Leo style. He's going to pounce away from it. His backup, though, is very light. In just Matthew and Masoku, they don't do a lot of damage here versus the Razor. They will be forced to fall back. Duster still has the Curse as well as the Embrace. They'll get away with that Earthshaker kill without any losses over in mid. Sacred just, they can't get anything done in this game. They don't have the right tools.
Bounty Hunter just not proving to be all that effective here early on. Tavo finding Masoku on the back lines as well. Gets the TP out. Fisher blind is not going to be thrown by King Tekka. And HFN just spamming the well played, as you know, he just plays the absolute ideal anti-mage game. AFKing pretty much the entire early game. Has 4 kills, 4 last hits essentially on the kills to his name, and just a couple hundred gold away from that Battle Fury.
Anti-mage is getting frighteningly huge. Not to mention the fact that there's also, first of all, Masoku in the worst spot. He can't even touch the shrine from that range, I don't think. He's not even going to try. He's just trying to run and get cut down by the AMF magic. It sucks. But for paiN, like, Masha hasn't even really started playing the game. Like, Razor has, I guess, rotated once to the bottom lane, but other than that, is still working with so much power that currently has not really been tapped into. He's just been mostly laning, mostly handling the Mirana, and is just slightly ahead of the Mirana, but over towards top lane, Benjez, King RD, a little bit of a scuffle here. I don't think they can really get him, can they? He has Rage, he has a TP. They'll try it. There's a Mana Void to cancel, and they got him. Yeah, paiN Gaming are just winning all these fights without their Razor.
Yeah. And this has just been a really well executed early game and really well drafted. Just none of their lanes felt vulnerable to this first phase Bounty Hunter, even though they picked up the AM so early on. So paiN Gaming definitely just outmaneuvering Sacred at this point in the game, and that is reflected in the metrics. You know, they're nearing a 5K gold lead, have already roughly a 5K experience lead, and even Tavo kind of getting out of control on this Nature's Prophet. He's made some really key rotations for his squad in this one, involved in 9 of their 11 kills thus far on the Prophet.
For sure, Tavo easily carrying paiN Gaming through this early phase, but this is where things might get a little bit worse for them. The fact that Shaker is level 11, so he's very close to level 2 Echo Slam, plus has a Blink Dagger with the Echo Slam. King RD is going to fail the Burrow Strike onto the low ground, but Leo Style is actually baited by it and jumps down there. King RD is going to force out another leap and will die to the stars, but Tavo is just right-clicking in onto Matthew, will take a kill in response. There is track up on the bounty, but yeah, the big asset here is Tekka's Blink Dagger, although he does not want to really try to go for Masha with it. Echo Slam's going to do nothing, literally, but they have enough stuns with the arrow to keep the Razor there and kill him off. It works out well enough in the end for them. Yeah. This Blink Dagger Shaker, that's the Sacred ticket back into this game, although hopefully with a little bit of a better Echo Slam next time.
Hey, the CC was enough to get the kill on the core, but yeah, it's just kind of the nature of the new Echo is that you need a lot of follow-up if you're going to be solo echoing on the cores of the enemy team without them being more clumped. Tavo makes a rotation into the mid lane, but with a lot of reinforcements nearby is a little bit of a difficulty. HFN could be in trouble now bottom lane. He's going to get globaled up, and the arrow flies through with the track. This is a big kill for them to grab. 500 gold going the way of Leo Styles Mirana. And a 6 kill streak. We mentioned all the last hits he was able to get early on. Meanwhile, mid lane, Masoku in trouble. Tavo TPing in. A couple more right clicks from the Prophet. Wrath of Nature finished off. Tracked up, though. Has the Shadow Blade, but obviously detected here. And Winter's Curse does not catch the Earthshaker. They'll be able to bring down the Nature's Prophet and the Anti-Mage here. Plasma Field will finish off Leo Style from Masha. So a nice return kill from paiN Gaming, but still, considering the state of the game, Sacred very happy with the last couple of minutes since they've picked up King Tekka's Blink.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even like necessarily the Blink Dagger on the Shaker that's really been helping them out a lot. Matthew going in deep for Duster. Shuriken Toss can't quite get the kill before the Embrace comes in. And now he's out of mana, so he's just got to book it out of there. There is a pissed off Anti-Mage on his tail. Mana Void not castable through that invis. Duster has a sentry, but really doesn't want to drop it there of all places, so he'll just have to let him go. Killing off Anti-Mage is great. Killing off a Nature's Prophet on top of that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It isn't going to suddenly turn this game 180 degrees. Like, they're not suddenly right back into it, but these are the type of plays that they really need to make. Oh, Matthew gets blindly dusted? No way. King RD with the sickest of reads kills off Matthew. That looked like just a pure blind
roughly
dust.
seen the animation from the re-shadow walk.
Did he re-shadow?
Yeah, but that either way, King RD's been.
Let's
on
call it a
all
blind
game.
dust so we can hype it up there.
Bot lane.
Bottom lane though, Winter Wyvern.
Yeah.
Okay, well she's dead. Although Benjez is not looking too hot here. His
They have a
path
Blink
is
Echo.
blocked completely. He can phase through in just a couple seconds. Actually turning around straight for the Nature's Prophet, but there's no detection going the other way versus that Shadow Blade. So Topple will back off. They force out the Global Silence. And casualties are 0 for paiN so far, although Leo Style will throw an arrow for reasons. Burrow Strike will also miss.
A
Solid
symphony of
play.
fails. Either way, both teams walk out unscathed from that little skirmish bottom lane. Yeah, if Matthew had been present, feels like you know, this Shadow Blade is a pretty risky purchase for Tavo. If Matthew had been present there, he might have just died off. Speaking of being present on Tavo, Masoku, he is no longer present as he's going to get ganked up top lane by that Prophet, who is right-clicking for a World of Hurt right now, and does grab himself another kill. 7-2 and 7 now on the Prophet, looking into this Orchid at some point in the near future. Maybe gives them some kill potential on the Lifestealer, who's been a difficult target for them to bring down despite their lead.
Anti-Mage isn't quite at that point where you can just jump on any given hero and start tearing him to shreds. It's Manta style, and then your probably next item is when you're really comfortable doing that. But hey, he's getting there. Speaking of getting there, Tekka, Blink Dagger, and then a couple of good plays from the Shaker. Suddenly finds himself with an additional Shadow Blade. So everyone and their mom is going to have invisibility in this game, and that's going to be quite a toll on these supports. Duster really doesn't want to be spending all of his gold on detection, but he really has no choice. And similarly on the other end, Masoku is going to be forced to spend a lot of cash for True Sight. Jump in on the mid lane, catches the Razor with the double Star Storm. Masha is going to get leapt on twice, 3 times, and they will get him. Although that is all the leap from Leo style. Now off the table, get popped by HFN, and well, Tekka's not looking too hot either. Just right click down, the reinforcements coming in spades here from the paiN Gaming side. There's a Blink Dagger on the Sand King, but he's cursed, so he can't blink just yet, although they do have still free vision. And I don't even know if they need that Burrow Strike there. They'll Burrow Strike instead onto 2. Benjez is tearing his ally apart. Don't do it, Benjez. You gotta try to resist it. It'll be 4 for 1 at the end as paiN Gaming show off their Blink Dagger on Sand King and again show off their reinforcement style.
Yeah, the supporting cast from paiN Gaming has been playing very well this game. Tavo and King RD and even the Winter Wyvern for Duster have all been kind of right place, right time. Even though Masha gets caught out a little bit, they're able to turn and punish for a much more worthy prize. And already level 15 now for Tavo on the Prophet as he picks up the extra treants. Will be able to constantly be shoving the wave in. And when you're playing with a Bounty Hunter on your squad and a core like a Lifestealer, having your wave shoved in can be a major hindrance to your ability to fight. You just lose vision. You don't have a great way to push the waves back out. And really what you want to be looking for in order to give you that opportunity is these fights. So Tavo going to be able to kind of safely and constantly shove these waves in and make it a little more difficult for Sacred to have to use their Moonlight Shadow anytime they make a movement out.
Ooh, if paiN Gaming were paying attention, Sacred did smoke under the obs, right on the edge. Although it's really hard to tell because they disappear on the very edge. Maybe they walked out. Maybe they smoked. You never really know. But either way, Tekka with Lifestealer inside is looking for someone. Unfortunately, he is on the complete wrong half of the map. Scan goes off on the bottom side. Is going to be procced red by Duster. He's going to try to keep himself in as a defensible position as possible. Razor with S and Y is not an easy target to kill off. He is fairly bulky. Tree, Summon, Plasma Field, all of it will not hit onto the Mirana. She'll arrow in onto Tavo, but there's no follow-up just yet, so it may have been just a little bit too early. Tekka now coming in hot, but I think he was right in the Sentry Ward range, so paiN Gaming will make a full retreat, it seems.
Duster flying gets a ward down by the Shrine. Meanwhile, HFN doing anti-mage things.
That's the luxury. Do something with 4 heroes or even 3 heroes with Nature's Prophet. You got anti-mage just doing whatever he wants. He is doing it under obs from the Radiant. Yeah. And there is a very, very aggressive kill party coming in towards him. The Shadow Blade will run out, but there is no dire detection here. Only a dire sentry, which isn't going to help him all that much. Although HFN, they don't see him. He definitely smells something right now.
He has Manta as well, so not an easy kill. He's currently sitting on
the Courier doesn't have a shield. Okay, now he knows that something's up for sure. King RD, though, just going to jump in, but this is maybe a bait, because here comes the Echo Slam, as well as the Chain Stun follow-up will kill off both of these heroes. TP is coming in way too slowly. It's Duster to come in first. We'll just get tracked up. Masha is incredibly fast right now, but he doesn't have any True Sight to chase down Matthew. That was a Courier snipe first, but a bait second, and it worked out either way, although Masoku, again, is going to get picked off by Tavo. Still perfectly executed by that Bounty Hunter, and maybe this time, actually, Tavo not going to get away scot-free. He is going to get dusted, and with Benjez right on top of him, will fall. Sacred starting to make some steps back into this game.
Yeah. Odd sequence to see Tavo go in right after his anti-mage and Sand King dies. He knows he doesn't have any counter initiation behind him. No Wyvern there, no Sand King. Gets the kill, feels that he can get it quickly enough, as he has been able to kill off this very poor silencer quite a few times in this game, excuse me, but he's going to get punished for it there. Certainly not worth it. And they get that all-important anti-mage kill with the two-man Blink Echo. So nicely baited there by Matthew. Either way, the plan remains the same for paiN. They'll just get back to work as far as farming goes and shoving these waves out.
Mage is just climbing and climbing on the net worth. And as great as that is for paiN, they still have this issue of Razor. I feel like every single time I see a Razor, I mention why I don't like Razor, and then everyone gets to see why I don't like Razor. The dude doesn't farm for jack. And he's been like in the lane the entire game, and he still is like on the bottom half of the net worth chart with really no real way of getting back into it. Matthew, though, is going to walk into a hornet's nest of heroes. That's not where you want to be. paiN also gets tagged by the force of nature, so he knows that there is vision somewhat in the area. Mosh is going to start draining him out. Take your life stealer for a walk, and the damage is actually stacking up pretty high. Okay, maybe just a little bit of shit talk is all that's needed for Masha to step up his Razor game, because they took out the life stealer by himself, and the rest of the team took out Roshan right outside the enemy tier 2. Yeah, it's a pretty good spot to be.
Good old reverse caster's curse. Why not? I was going to say that, you know, as far as the Razor's impact in the game, maybe you can look at how adversely impacted the Bounty Hunter was, as opposed to how, you know, directly impactful the Razor was in the game, just because he provided no opening for this BH in the early game. And Matthew, you know, despite making that nice cheeky play top lane to get the kill on the anti-mage, really hasn't had much impact in this game other than that.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Taking down a tower, paiN Gaming still walk away with the Aegis. Double damage rune on HFN is not going to be spotted by any vision from the Radiant, although Matthew is going to be burrow struck up. There has got to be a gem here. There is on the Sand King. So that's not fun for Matthew, and maybe looking for a little bit more. Benjez does not have a TP out, but Sprout is not going to do anything. They can't get him with a Nature's Prophet. No hard disables yet on this Nature's Prophet, though he will have a Sheepstick in due time. Double damage rune on Anti-Man. Let's see how much damage he could actually do here. Well, not that much with no creeps. Where are they? Here comes the creeps. There's an Echo Slam on Tekka, but HFN's really the only one who'll get hit by it. He has full points in Spell Shield. Tekka, oh, it's going to be off to the side where the Mirana instead is going to be in a little bit of trouble. They got to watch out to not clump up too much. Mirana's going to leap out, because that's what she does in this patch. And the Anti-Mage is going to get stunned up by the Aftershock. Doesn't have a blink just yet, and is going to get embraced. Maybe will he be able to blink out and preserve his Aegis. Arrow going to keep him there. Still dying to the urn. One more smack will take him down, but in the back, it's the Bounty Hunter to fall. Even trade so far 1-1. Bounty Hunter is going to be back, as will the Anti-Mage. Gets stunned up once, but in the fissure is actually pretty well protected. Now Masha is going to be on the front lines. Ben is going to cut his way through the Sprout and now go straight to town on that Razor. Curse in the back is going to slow down the Shaker, and the Epicenter will do absolutely nothing. Jumping forward, Leo style will arrow way off point, but still there, should be able to kill off at least this Winter Wyvern Duster. Looking for King RD in addition. For sure, Duster is pretty boned, so let's look at what King RD is up to. He already used his blink. Fissure going to slow him down even further, but here comes the Anti-Mage. Cuts down the Shaker, who got a little bit too far ahead of his allies. And paiN Gaming will ultimately lose the Razor, but gain not exactly nothing in exchange. It's still going to be their Aegis going down for no tier 3, no Rax damage, and that is not what they were looking for.
Tavo does eliminate the tier 2 in the top lane as kind of a consolation prize there. So yeah, you can consider with the Aegis successful defense for Sacred side. Nice play to get the curse off by Duster, else the Earthshaker definitely could have grabbed a hero or two during the paiN Gaming extraction out of that bottom lane. But again, it just, yeah, it kind of felt like a little bit of a far press forward by the Razor, and you feel for Masha there, because he feels like he has to garner some attention with the Anti-Mage kind of caught out of position. But he does end up going down early, and that forces out, you know, the rest of paiN Gaming's lineup to have to retreat. In the meantime, though, Tavo does pick up his Orchid and has 2,800 gold on the way to the good old throwback Nature's Prophet build of the Shadowblade Orchid side device.
Gotta play that assassin role. The Anti-Mage isn't really going to be doing that in this particular game. Picked up a heart, which is not a bad item for Anti-Mage. Like, it's a pretty good item to have, but it is going to not offer him all that much damage. And he also did not take the Blink Uncontrollable Illusions, so it's not even going to be like he's going to play his best Phantom Lancer impression right now. He's just looking to survive and get the mana burn value. HFN is farming fast enough so that he can just get a damage item soon after this, so it's not like all that bad, especially if he's going to jump in towards Tekka. There is gem, but no commitment, for no real commitment at least. Meantime, Matthew is in the back, and hey, look at that, is once again yet to fight up against the gem. Not really sure what that blink was about, but they got him anyway. Well played indeed. Tavo will take that kill.
So the one thing the heart does give them on the anti-mage is a siege engine, so to speak. Oh wow, the arrow is going to connect
He's going to lose a lot of his damage here. He's going to try to turn around. The global sound's going to give him some cover with the Echo Slam there as well. Trying to focus down the anti-mage, but the heart is helping him out so much. The burrow strike, he'll just turn around and pop Tekka. And now onto Benjaz. Doesn't have any damage to fight and will get torn to shreds by the Razor. 280 stolen. paiN Gaming pull out the Echo Slam and lose nothing and may get another one. Leo style is in a little bit of trouble here, is out of leap charges, although, well, there we go. Masha gonna come right in with the passes from Eye of the Storm, as well as that current now. We'll take down pretty much everyone of value here from Sacred. Tekka is alive again because he bought back, but he doesn't have an Echo Slam. And everyone else will also buy out, or at least everyone who has it, but the Lifestealer does not, so he's the heavy. Still 30 seconds till he's back in this game. Jump in, burrow strike, epicenter onto two heroes, and they're both gonna fall. They both are down for a very long time now, and the Earthshaker not looking too hot either. He'll fall shortly after, and paiN Gaming will take the series.
Well, confirmed, Brazil greater than Peru, I suppose, after this series. But I mean, these two teams.
That's gonna go well over with everyone in Twitch chat.
I had to do it, guys. I'm sorry. These two teams, I mean, they have a long history against one another, and definitely are looking to trade series. But paiN Gaming, they look pretty dominant overall in this series. And even in game one, you could argue that, you know, up until the 12-13 minute mark, they had a fairly significant lead. You know, Sacred made a wonderful kind of shot call where they baited them into a fight top lane to kind of take that game from them. But since then, two really solid drafts coming out from paiN Gaming. They drafted lanes that were just, you know, not exploitable by a bounty hunter here. In the first phase, bounty hunter silencer, Sacred didn't really get anything done in the lanes, and paiN looks snowball from there.
This game, Tavo doing some really heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Masha doing an impressive display of Razor after I had to give him that talking to. If you're able to leash the Lifestealer with that static link and actually keep it on him, dude is just so unhappy. You can't do anything as a Lifestealer once you lose all your damage like that, so you just gotta run. Overall for paiN, they just locked down the lanes. They locked down the entire map in Sacred. Just couldn't get enough of a team fight going for them in this particular game. So it is going to be paiN Gaming to move onward just a little bit more in this SA qualifier. I think match 3, they're facing either Infamous or SG Esports next. I don't know who. I don't know how that bracket worked, but they're into the next phase. So congratulations to paiN, and Sacred are going to be dropping down to losers, which should be played tomorrow, I would imagine. But we're done for right now, guys. If you guys enjoyed the broadcast, well, be sure to follow along. Honestly, why are you not already followed to all the Beyond the Summit channels? Come on, guys. You should already be doing that, but you can follow us on Twitter if you enjoyed the casting. For myself, at Mike Loris. For my co-caster, at MRP Dota. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
GG.